People often ask the question, is the American dream dead? I believe the moment we stop dreaming, we might as well be. Hi, I'm your host, Craig Sewing, the creator of American Dream TV, a national TV show centered around real estate, lifestyle, and culture. A real show showing you real neighborhoods from real professionals. Today, we're going to take you all across the country, showing you why we live in the greatest country on the planet. Let's get this show started right now. Welcome to the American Dream.
The American Dream.
You're watching The American Dream?
The American Dream.
Showing you the real estate, the lifestyle, the culture.
Let's get this party started right now.
Let's go do this.
It is heating up once again.
We're the Davids going up against the Goliath. Real stories in real neighborhoods with real experts.
The staple of the neighborhood. Can't wait to present it to you.
It's all about lifestyle.
In your community.
That's what this show, The American Dream, is all about. Cheers to your American Dream.
Hello, and welcome to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. A city full of history, wonderful and iconic monuments and museums, beautiful nature, great people, history, so much to see here. I am Gisrael Urquijo, and I'm your host for The American Dream for Washington, D.C. In these tours, we'll explore some of the most iconic neighborhoods of this great city. We're gonna talk about the history, we're gonna meet people, neighbors, we're gonna show you what it's like to live in this great city. And we're starting our tour here at the National Mall, where so much history for this city and the country has been written, and more will be. As you can see behind me, we see the US Capitol building, which houses Congress. We're also surrounded by all the museums of the Smithsonian Institution. Did you know that the Smithsonian Institution is the world's largest museum with over 26 venues just in DC alone? They also include the National Zoo in this city. So when you want to learn something new or discover new things, there's so much to learn in these museums. So just come to the National Mall. There's always something fun that you can learn by all this network of museums. And now we're gonna visit my friends and Georgetown neighbors, Sarah and Divo. So let's go to their home.
Welcome to our house.
Thank you.
Let me show you around a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been about 3 years since you moved to Georgetown with Sarah and Noah, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're very happy that we chose this neighborhood. I think it's kind of meeting the expectations we had about blending the city and small town life in one.
And were those the main reasons why you chose to live in Georgetown?
Georgetown has been a little bit designed for us in a way, if I may say, because I grew up in a small town, but I've always wanted to live in a big city. And so living in Georgetown kind of blends those two experiences together. It's a little bit feeling like a small town, but at the same time, you walk 5 minutes here or there and you hit M Street or Wisconsin and you are in the middle of a big city life. So it's really great.
What would you recommend to people thinking about moving here?
So I really love walking through the neighborhood and picking random streets and just exploring the neighborhood because it has very distinct pockets with different kinds of houses and decoration and vibe to them. I lived in different places, Prague, New York, Paris, and I've never had this experience that you walk 5 minutes and you're in a super quiet, small town feeling neighborhood. And then out of nowhere, this big city of M Street emerges with restaurants, boutiques, shopping, etc. So I would suggest people do that because it's really nice.
Well, I'm so glad that your experience has been so positive. Living in Georgetown sounds wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Gisrael Urquijo, your host with The American Dream in Washington, D.C. See you next time.
and welcome to the American Dream. I'm your host and realtor, Chris Dudley. Today, we're in Washington, D.C., home to a wealth of classical music. We're going to be talking to two choir directors of St. John's Lafayette Square and Christ Church, Georgetown. We're also chatting to the director of singers of the cantate choruses and the voice of D.C., Patrick McCoy. These guys are going to tell us all why D.C. is the place to live if you want to sing. Let's get inside and take a look. And here we are with the two directors of music, Brent Erstad with St. John's Lafayette Square and Tom Smith with Christ Church, Georgetown.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Great to be here. Is there anything in particular that sets the DC church music scene apart from other cities in the US?
I think while there's great choral music happening all over this country, there's something sort of special in Washington. Of course, because the federal government is our biggest employer, I think this is a city that oftentimes can feel a little stuck in the gears of bureaucracy. It's a very policy-driven city. And I think there's something really special about the way that choral music in this city can sort of serve as the reminder of the human aspect that sort of drives the policy, that drives the important decisions that are being made all the time.
Today we're talking about Christ Church and St. John's being part of a carol service. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, Chris, this is the third annual service of Lessons and Carols for Epiphanytide, which was conceived as a collaboration between Brent's choir from St. John's Lafayette Square and our choir here at Christ Church. And we're really excited. It's become a highlight of the year here. And we expect a large crowd. And your viewers should know that you, our host, are singing alto in the service this weekend.
That's right. I'm singing countertenor in today's service. I'm looking forward to doing that with these guys. I'm here with Patrick McCoy, the curator of Across the Arts. It's nice to see you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, tell me, what makes the DC choral scene so unique?
Oh my goodness, there are so many different choirs that you could be in if you are interested in a variety of choral genres, choral styles. DC is the place for you. You know, they say that DC is the choral capital of the nation, so you have your pick to choose from.
Patrick, tell me a little bit about your platform, Across the Arts.
Well, Across the Arts is a glimpse for the average person to get an idea about what it's like to be in the arena of the performing arts, whether it's through interviews, live concerts. It's an opportunity for one to just to get a deeper understanding of music. If you want to get in tap with music in DC, this is your way to do it.
Awesome. Patrick, it is a pleasure to talk with you today. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here today with Victoria Gao, the artistic director of Cantate.
Chris, it's great to be here with you.
Tell me about Cantate. I understand you have two choruses.
That's right. You know, our original chorus, Cantate Chamber Singers, recently won the award for Best Chamber Chorus in the DC area.
It's awesome.
And our newer chorus, our new symphonic chorus, Cantate Concert Choir, is quickly getting known as a force of its own in the area, doing its own concerts and collaborating with a lot of the finer orchestras in the area.
Great. What sort of music do you perform?
We do everything from Renaissance motets to challenging works by living composers. You know, we think that it's really important to introduce to audience music that they never knew that they loved. But we can also be heard singing favorites like the Verdi Requiem and Bernstein's Chichester Psalms and so forth.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for meeting with us, and we look forward to showcasing Cantate singers.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Patrick McCoy, the singers of the cantate choruses, St. John's Choir and Christ Church Choir. This has been another American Dream. My name is Chris Dudley. I'm your host, a realtor, and also a singer in this choir. See you on the next one. Cheerio and goodbye.
What happens when a historic town transforms itself for a new generation? Join me as I uncover what's been happening on the downtown Cumberland Mall. This place is a comeback story that you don't want to miss. Hello and welcome to American Dream TV. I am your host, Pamela Terry with eXp Realty. Today, I am going to be meeting Matt Miller in the amazing Rosenbaum building. Matt is the Director of Economic Development. Matt, I'm seeing a lot of work going on down here on the Cumberland Mall, a lot of revitalization going on. How did all this get started?
Yeah, so basically it's all pursuant to a 2015 strategic plan that the city of Cumberland had adopted. The plan basically called for the further investigation of or redevelopment of the pedestrian mall. The construction was only actually 18 months of the project, but the planning took approximately 10 years.
What is in the pipeline now? I see we've got some new shops. I know downstairs of this building, we've got some businesses. What are some things in the pipeline to come?
Yeah, so first we want to make sure that the businesses that are here are in fact sustainable and have the ability to grow. So we put a lot of priority and emphasis on making sure that we are able to retain the businesses currently in place. But then also we want to revitalize a lot of the empty spaces in the upper floors of the buildings. We're seeing a lot of interest in residential development in that regard, and so far it's yielded approximately 42 residential units that have currently in development or under development.
What is one important thing that you would like the public or the community to know about economic development?
We put a large focus and emphasis on maintaining or making sure that a community is not only attractive for businesses, but sustainable for business growth.
The mall is looking beautiful. I look forward to the future and what this community brings.
Stay tuned, there's more to come, yeah.
Are you ready to start touring the downtown Cumberland Mall? Join me as I tour some of the local shops and meet with some of the shop owners. Your shop is beautiful.
Thank you.
What's the story behind Madison and Page?
So I was in Frostburg for years, and then we decided to move in this location because the Rosenbaum is just such a beautiful space. So we closed our Frostburg store and moved to Cumberland.
What are you seeing as far as growth in the community?
Oh my gosh, I see so much growth. Right now, it's great. We've had great foot traffic. Since Baltimore Street is open now, we see a lot more foot traffic, and it's only going to get better.
We're here at the Cumberland Emporium. Tell me about this shop and how it got started.
Well, it's a pretty interesting story. It started 26 years ago. The vendors loved it, and we have been in a couple locations, but we've been in this location for over 20 years.
With the revitalization of the downtown mall, how are you seeing business here now?
Once it opened in November, we saw a huge increase in sales and visitors, not just local people, but with people out of the area, and it's really an exciting time for downtown Cumberland right now. Cumberland's always had a great history, and I always tell visitors when they come here and they walk outside, they have to look up because the buildings are phenomenal. I mean, we've got late 19th century, early 20th century buildings, and now with the construction that's happened, it looks fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining me today. What an amazing day it has been. I have been down here at the downtown Cumberland Mall interviewing shop owners, touring restaurants, and just seeing the revitalization that has taken place downtown. Stop by. You don't want to miss this. This is a new place, new things happening, and a lot of growth. Thank you again, and enjoy me the next episode on American Dream TV.
Welcome to the American Dream. My name is Ken Abramowitz, and I'll be your host for this episode of Selling the DMV. One of the things that I really love doing is finding these hidden gems in the area and then sharing that with my viewers. And today, we're going to be seeing one of the most unique hidden gems in my opinion, and I've lived here for 50 years. We are at the National Capital Trolley Museum in Silver Spring. You guys are really going to love what we have in store for you in this one. So come on in and let's check it out.
I play the game so well, learned how to speak and spell. I even got myself a degree.
This is really cool. How many streetcars do you have in here?
So we have about 19 streetcars in our collection, plus one auto railer, so that makes a total of 20 vehicles in the collection.
Oh, awesome. And do any of them run?
Yes, actually we have a couple of cars that operate out of here, so we do take cars out of here throughout the year.
Oh, really? Can we take a ride on one?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Let's go. So we're going to go ahead and take a ride on one of the streetcars, and I'll be here talking with Eric Madison. He's the executive director of the National Capital Trolley Museum. Eric, thank you so much for having us today.
Well, thank you for coming on today.
You got it. So how long have you been in this particular location?
We've been here at Northwest Branch Park since 1969. We have an agreement with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission that we can operate here rent-free, which is on about 43 acres of land.
I understand I remember from talking to you last week that, and this fascinated me, that the development of the DC metro area revolved around where the streetcars were going. Like, in other words, neighborhoods were being built around it. Can you kind of share a little bit more on that?
Yes, one of the things that we talk about with the museum is that oftentimes streetcars were often tied to development of communities in and around Washington. So in places like Chevy Chase or Tacoma or places out along Route 1 in Prince George's County, developers would often purchase land and then build a streetcar line out to it and then sell off parcels of land to prospective owners. And then they could advertise it as an easy way to get to and from the city on a streetcar. So you could live out, way out into the suburbs, but get into town every day.
Oh, that's really cool. I know a lot of people probably don't even realize that. So, and I understand that you guys have events, you host different events throughout the year. Tell me a little bit about that, because it's a very interactive museum. This isn't one of these places where you just come and look at stationary things and leave. So talk to me about the events.
Yes, we hold events throughout the year, special events. So we have our events calendar. One of the things that we're about to have is our DC Transit Day, which is at the end of January. We always commemorate the end of streetcar service in January 28th of 1962. Unfortunately, they didn't end service in the summer. Let's be a little warmer. But we also have events throughout the year. We're planning things for Women's History Month. And then we also have school groups that will be coming in throughout the spring and summer.
Oh, that's great. And I understand that you do birthday parties and some other stuff around Christmas.
Yes, we also host birthday parties for both young people and people who are a little older. But we also hold other special events. So if you want to have your party or if you want to have your special event out here, we're more than welcome to have you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Last question. I know that you guys are a nonprofit and you depend on the public for support. What are some ways that people can help you out?
Well, for one thing, we can always use new volunteers. We are a volunteer organization. We have a lot of people here who support the museum that way. But we also do a lot of fundraising for special projects and specifically restoration projects for some of our Washington cars. And we're also doing fundraising for some of our education programs that we're trying to introduce this year.
Thank you again, Eric, for having us here. This was so much fun. I really appreciate it.
All right, glad you enjoyed it.
All right, take care. So I'd like to close out today's episode with a confession. I don't know about you, but when I get around streetcars, trolley cars, I get this feeling of nostalgia, and the little kid in me starts to come out. And you have no idea how hard it's been for me to maintain my professionalism today and keep that at bay, but I've reached my limit. I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna go back in and check out some more of these streetcars. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of American Dream TV, and I hope to see you again next time.
Welcome to American Dream. I'm Sadaf with Aloha Homes and your host for today's show. With me today, I have a special guest, my favorite lender, Mellisa Bell with Atlantic Coast Mortgage.
Thank you so much, Sadaf, for having me.
Thank you for being here with me. We are here today for our show to visit wineries again. Why wineries again? Because Loudoun County, we have many families that are moving or visiting Loudoun County because of its abundance of wineries and their unique offerings. We are here at the Hillsborough Wine Yard and Brewery, and this is really the true gem of Loudoun County and the heart of the wine country. We'll be meeting Mr. Bucky, who is also one of the owners and the head brewer and also the general manager of this winery.
Let's go in.
Hi, Mr. Bucky.
Hi, welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here.
Thank you so much for coming by.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. How about we start off with a tasting? You guys thirsty for some good wine?
We are. Of course.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I'm going to start you off with our white today. I usually like to start with whites, slowly go to rosés and reds. Well, the first one we're going to taste we call Opal. It is a gemstone named after my grandmother. This is one of our more popular rosés. A little touch of sweetness. And this rosé is made from our Tannat grape.
How many different types of wines do you have?
We have 12. We are actually in the process of adding another 2 to our lineup.
So, Mr. Bucky, can you tell me what makes a Hillsborough Wine Yard and Brewery such a unique place?
Yeah, actually, there's a couple things that make us pretty unique. We started over 21 years ago. We bought the property 23 years ago. And it's still not only family owned, but family operated, which is relatively rare. In fact, it's kind of fascinating because not only was it started by my father, but now my son has joined. So we have 3 generations of Buckys that are actively involved in the business, which is really, really interesting. And we haven't killed each other yet. That's the best part.
That's a good thing.
But yeah, apart from that, the other thing that makes us really unique is we don't purchase any fruit. Every wine that we make is made with fruit from this land. So we grow everything, harvest everything, we make all of our own wine, all of our own pressings, and we have our own bottling line, so we bottle everything here as well. So really nothing leaves here until it leaves in your glass.
Again, thank you so much for having us. It's definitely a beautiful place to. I love the scenery.
Oh, thank you.
It's just a wonderful place to be. Mellisa, thanks again for being with me today. It's definitely a pleasure having you.
Well, thank you, Sadaf, for having me.
Yes, thank you. I think we've been a business partner and now a friend for a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first time we met was back in 2012.
Yes, it's hard to believe that's over a decade.
I know,
yes.
Definitely. So my question to you is that what makes a potential buyer leverage Atlantic Coast Mortgage for a competitive edge?
Well, we are local to the market. All of our underwriting and processing is done in-house. So our underwriters and processors are easily reached. And then we are competitive. Our rates are competitive to any national competitor or anyone locally.
Now, can you tell me what trends are you seeing in today's Loudoun County housing market, please?
Well, I believe, Sadaf, the spring market has already sprung. We have open houses that are full or at capacity. All my clients are competing in multiple offer situations right now, so it's always good to have a local lender and an experienced agent to get that ratified contract.
Thank you all for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed visiting the Hillsborough Winery and Brewery. Wineries are truly one of the benefits of living in Loudoun County. We see you next time at my next episode in American Dream. We see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the American Dream TV. We created this show to combat negative media, to show that the American Dream is alive and well by showing you real stories in real neighborhoods. Thank you so much for watching the show, and cheers to your American Dream.